Welcome back to the 8 o'clock spot, everybody. This is brought to you by the Gryd Network. We have three great guests here competing. We've got my guy Dylan, we've got my guy Tyler, and we got the champ right now, Arthur. First, let's go over these rules really quick if this is your first time on the show. It is the best take, 5 points. The second best take, 3 points. The third best take, 1 point. They switched things up a little bit. Like I said, Arthur is your leading champ right here, 341 points. We got Dylan at 96. We've got Tyler at 47. And that looks like the field tonight. So let's get back over here. Take that off. First, we got my guy Dylan up here at the front. Introduce yourself and tell us how you're doing tonight, man.
Hey, how's it going? I'm excited to be here. I know we're gonna be talking about this show, but I'm still in shell shock. What happened with the Nuggets and Mike Malone? It's unbelievable what's going on. First it was Taylor Jenkins, now it's Mike Malone. It's crazy. It's insanity.
That is one of the questions tonight. Tyler, how are you doing tonight, man?
So glad you guys have me on. Feels great to be back on the grid, man. This is where all the positivity is. But it didn't start there, my friend. It started with Nico Harrison trading Luka Doncic. Anything after that can't be asinine. But, we had Mike Brown and then Taylor Jenkins. I am kind of shocked what's going on in the NBA. Good coaches getting fired right before playoff series.
Absolutely.
Kind of crazy.
And our reigning champ right here. Arthur, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm great, man. Looking to have some fun tonight with these two guests. Looking to have some fun tonight. When was the last time I saw you on this show? It's been a minute.
It's been a fat minute, man. I've been traveling a lot, doing vacations, doing work and stuff like that. So I haven't even been on the show as a contestant, let alone a host in months. So it's a good time to get back in here and ease my way back into this thing, hosting it. So glad to hear everybody's doing well. With that, I'm EJ Savage. If you've never seen me on here or whatnot, we run, all of us, I believe, have our own shows or some other show we're a part of somewhere on the Gryd Network. Whether it's a guest of the show or if they're actually a part of the Gryd Network, we're so happy to have these three contestants tonight. And with the first official question, is it more about the Houston Cougars giving away the national championship or the Florida Gators coming back and winning it? We'll start it off with Dylan, man. Go ahead. Your 2 minutes starts right now.
It's so tough because Florida definitely did fight back. They came back from 12 points. Nowadays I feel like a 12-point deficit isn't quite the same because people have been shooting threes more than ever. But you can't say Houston didn't just choke that away. It was just turnover after turnover at the end of the game. Their offense came completely stagnant. They got a couple tip shots here and there, free throw, but there couldn't have been a harder collapse than what Houston did. And Florida didn't even play that good either. As far as shooting percentages and free throws, and hell, Gators even had more turnovers than Houston at the end of the day. So I think it was a lot more in the sense that Houston just kind of cracked under pressure. It's so hard when the whole nation's watching you and you're so close to tasting victory. And Houston's not really as big of a college compared to Florida, especially when it comes to basketball. So it's even though it was a 1-versus-1 scene, they're both very good teams coming in. It still kind of felt like an underdog story for Houston throughout. So it definitely choking that is definitely heartbreaking, but that's going to be how people will talk about this game.
Yeah, man, it's super surprising that Houston did that, considering they're a defensive team where, they're always trying to put the pressure on the opposing program to come out and score in a high volume to beat them. So, you made some good points. It seems like the new format, we wait until the very end to assign points to everybody. So, Tyler, go ahead and give your point on who do you think it's more of a result of Houston blowing it or Florida coming and taking it?
you got to give credit to Florida. They came back 4 times in a row to win a natty title. But it is so much about Houston. As you mentioned in the first half, there was a almost double-digit turnover differential, and it was a tie game. Not only that, in the second half, Houston was in the bonus with 14 minutes left in the second half. Couldn't capitalize. Calvin Sampson, after the game, when asked, he said it was incomprehensible that we were unable to get a shot off. He had 3 chances. First, you go with Grier. Then you go with Sharp the next 2. 3 turnovers. And they had 4 times to score. Will Clayton, 0 points in the first half. He led the tournament, most outstanding player, but they shut him down. Houston has got to feel like they let one slip away here.
Yeah, some good points. I mean, Clayton absolutely was the best player during the entire tournament, in my opinion. Came and made big shots for Florida all throughout the tournament, and for them to shut him down early and often in that game was such a pivotal point, but they couldn't continue that the entire game. So I agree with a lot of the points you had right there. My guy Arthur, who does this fall on more, my man?
Look, I understand, right? I get it. Houston, how the heck could you let that happen? You got Dylan over here saying that it was probably one of the worst choke jobs we've seen. Buddy, there was a team called the Duke Blue Devils in the national semifinal that the Houston Cougars actually beat, who I think had a whole lot worse choke job, 1 point in the last 10.5 minutes, right? So I understand Houston, yes, they let that one go. But the Florida Gators fought back. You got to think back to the first half, 9 turnovers. Will Clayton Jr. has 0, but Will Richards had 14 other 28 points, keeping them in the game. Defensively, they always like to attack. They always like to defend the point of attack, right? That's just who they've been. They're feisty, right? That's who they've been all year and led them to a point. They were down 3 points at the end of the first half. And then the ticky-tack calls that you saw that the refs were letting go in the first half, they ended up not letting go in the second. And when they got down by 12, right, that was their biggest deficit of the tournament. They got down by 12. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, perfect time for Houston to just turn the gas on even more, keep their foot on the throat, and this game can be over. But then that guy, Walter Clayton Jr., their closer, got it going. And he ended the game with 11 points. Condon, he played well down the stretch, but it was all about Walter Clayton Jr. And not only that, them being able to keep it close and attacking Houston's defense the way they were. Like you said, Houston's a very great defensive team, but it ended up coming down the stretch where they were getting lackadaisical. They were letting Walter Clayton Jr. get off, and not only that, they ended up fouling. All of that stuff played into Florida's comeback to be able to get them to the free throw line. Now Clayton knocking down shots, and all we got to do is continue to stop the point of attack and play defense against these Cougars offense. And Juwan Roberts not able to go. LJ Cryer did his absolute hardest to make sure that they kept them in the game, right? Even Chinyelu, when he had that technical foul that happened, it was like, oh, that's a crucial point at this game because it's so close. And then when you have Emmanuel Sharp, who you know is going to get the ball down the stretch in that time, he sees the defender coming, he goes, right, lets the ball go, and instead of taking the turnover, right, and just taking the travel, he waits for one of his teammates to try to come and get it. You can't have a mental lapse like that. So, yes, Houston definitely did let that game go, yes. But the Florida Gators, you got to give them credit for being able to hang around. And then when the time came for it, Walter Clayton Jr. showed up, and the rest of that team followed suit, and they were able to pull out the W. So congratulations to Todd Golden to be able to keep his team composed, to keep Walter Clayton Jr. composed, and that team knew, hey, give that dude the ball and let our closer do what he does. Just follow him to the promised land.
Yeah, some excellent points by Arthur here. I mean, you got to mention what it meant for the Florida Gators to score while the clock was stopped. That was the biggest point in that game, in my opinion, is when you foul, and you have those fouls that are really uncharacteristic of the Cougars and who they are on defense, they create a lot of turnovers, but down the stretch they weren't, and then they were fouling, and it let the Florida Gators back in the game. They got those easy buckets. All it takes is a couple buckets to see down as just free throws to get you going again, and Peyton made them pay the price. You're right about the Sharp thing, not being able to get shots up at the end. LJ Cryer was, I mean, he kept the Cougars in the game at some points, but it was just uncharacteristic stuff at the end, and that's what caused a lot of the collapse at the very end. So I'm gonna go ahead and let me check these points again. 5-3-1. Yes. That was for my own self, my hosting self here. Arthur, I'm going to give you the 5 points for that round. Tyler, I don't know where the hell he went, but he's going to get the 3 points. And then Dylan with the 1 point. Would have liked you to see you used a little bit more of your time, Dylan, going into the next round. Since Tyler is not back, we're going to go ahead and let you start the next round, Arthur. And it is about the big NBA news. Right before the playoffs hits, the Denver Nuggets did fire their head coach, Mike Malone. What does this mean for the Nuggets, and is it a smart move for the Nuggets moving forward?
No, hell no, hell to the no. Are you kidding me? Dude, this has got to be one of the most pettiest firings I've ever seen in my life. Listen, bro, look. The Kings firing Coach Mike Brown. Sure, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nico Harrison doing what he did. Whatever. The Grizzlies doing whatever they did. Whatever. The Nuggets said, we can one up all of that. We're going to let go of our head coach and our GM. Now, it was about time for the GM to get out of there. That was a fair one. Mm-hmm. But Michael Malone, because of contract disputes, okay, then why not just wait till the end of the season? No, we're not going to do that. Because he played Russell Westbrook over whoever the heck the owner wanted him to play.
Mm-hmm.
He is a seasoned veteran. He's an all-star, future Hall of Famer, playoff experience. We're going to need him down the
former
stretch.
MVP.
Yeah, former MVP. We're going to need him come playoff time. Yeah, I want to play this guy over whoever the hell this guy is. Sure, okay. Also, there might have been a rift between him and the team. Well, let's see. The team wasn't playing Nuggets basketball, right? They were playing pretty lackadaisical. They weren't living up to how we usually see Nuggets basketball play, whether it was Michael Porter Jr.,
oh man, Arthur's in the freeze bot right now, it seems.
The internet. Gotta love the internet. All right, I'm gonna finish that up here soon.
Also, yeah, go ahead.
You let go one of your key pieces that won you the championship in Contavious Caldwell-Pope, who Mike Malone really wanted you to bring back, and you said no, he can go ahead and kick rocks. Why? So again, this was a firing. This wasn't a logical firing. This was emotional firing. Yo, you don't like what I'm doing? Okay, we're going to go ahead and get your behind out of here. And then you're going to say, we hope this firing jolts the team for a deep playoff run. What deep playoff run? Jamal Murray is Jamal Murray because that dude, Coach Mike Malone, when Jamal Murray was at his lowest after that ACL injury, said, nah, you are ours. We are keeping you. They played for that, man, and y'all said, go ahead and leave. Man, forget your joke. I don't want your joke. Matter of fact, I don't even want to play. You know what? Go ahead. Bring the playoffs. I'll show you a deep playoff run. A deep playoff run to Cancun. Shit. You got me messed up firing Coach Mike Malone. So now it was just this year has been just a one-up of what NBA organization is more dumb. And so far, the Nuggets are definitely leading it.
Yeah, we haven't seen a firing like this when a team is on the top in some time. Obviously, the Nuggets, I think, probably should have made the finals last year based on how that went. But, they've well, I'll let Dylan go before I put my points out here. Dylan, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with Arthur anymore. We were just talking about the Grizzlies a couple weeks ago, how much of a terrible firing that was, how the Grizzlies were, I think they were the 4th seed at the time, if I'm not mistaken, and they just let him go without any kind of cause, without anything. I mean, maybe like people were doing mental gymnastics where they got rid of this, they added new assistant coaches, and they really liked this new assistant coach. They made the head coach. You could have said like, oh, they weren't competing against really good teams too well. Hell, you could have said, he looked at the GM wrong, and he probably would have been like, okay, granted, that's what Mike Malone probably was doing. I did hear about something about the rift beef between him and the GM. If anything, the fact that he just came off a championship run 2 years ago, and he's one of the better coaches in the league, if not the best. It's you can't just replace a coach like him where Arthur just said about how he rallied Jamal Murray out from being a terrible just terrible, awful injury. Michael Porter Jr. Not to mention that Nikola Jokic already has motivation problems. Like, he's already been well clear of just like, I don't care. I just want to go to Serbia and ride horses. You think he's
Mm-hmm.
going to care now? He's not going to care now. He's going to
Yep.
be like, all right, first round exit, maybe a second round exit if I feel like playing hard the first round. And that's going to be it. It's going to be curtains. And also they gave the same exact PR that the Grizzlies said. It was like, oh, we want to do our best shot of making this playoff run good. That's why we got our head coach. The Grizzlies are 3-7 in their last 10 games. They've collapsed from the 4th seed well into the play. I mean, you could give it that now there's only 4 games left in the regular season. The Nuggets can't really. I mean, they could move down in the standings if they lose these last few games, but like they're just about set where they need to be. Regardless, though, I would have had them be a true NBA final contender this year if it weren't for this firing, because coaching plays a big deal. I feel like I feel like people have talked in the past, especially during like the Warriors years and when LeBron was going to the finals every year, like, do you really need a head coach when you just have great talent? But no, you need to be able to handle minutes. You need to be able to have the X's and O's and matchups and, just being a real rah motivational guy. And I feel like the Nuggets don't really have that unless Russell Westbrook's going to take over the mantle. But as previously mentioned, they don't even like Westbrook that much in the first place. So now everything's just up in chaos. Everything's in flames. It's like throwing a grenade and then just like, all right, I'm walking out. Better luck next year. They're going to pretend like it's like, oh, yeah, we want to do what's best for the team. They should have fired the GM first, let Mike Malone at least finish the playoffs and finish the season, and then fire him if they don't like him. They already had a couple more years left on his contract. It wasn't like his contract was ending soon anyways. So,
Yeah.
I think it's more of the Nuggets pinching pennies, not wanting to pay him, and just being like, all right, let's bring on the next one. I think the Grizzlies firing was like, okay, we could do the
10
same
seconds,
thing.
Dylan.
Fine. The Thunder seem like they're going to win it. We don't really have a chance. Let's get rid of an NBA championship winning coach.
Yeah, you made some really good points there, Dylan. You talked about the 3-7 in the last 10, 4 games to go. They slid from the 2 seed, pretty much locked in at the 2 seed if they just continued their pace, all the way down to the 4 seed, and the possible of slipping all the way down to the 6 seed if if my calculations serve me correct. So. Yeah, it's one of those things that's very, very confusing. You mentioned one of the big things, which is it's Jokic. If the guy's not motivated, especially when it seems like everything kind of comes easy to him, and he doesn't care about greatness necessarily. How much do you get out of a guy like that? He doesn't care about going down as the GOAT. Whereas like LeBron, yes, things were easy for LeBron, and he's always doing, but he's chasing the shadow of Jordan. I don't think Jokic has that. You know what I mean? I don't think that he has that in the back of his head where he's chasing anybody. I think that he's just not as motivated as he should be. It's a confusing firing. You guys brought up a lot of good points with some of the players that they have there. And yes, they have the vets like Westbrook. And my guy Barry Grant says, yeah, quit with the Russ talk. Man is allergic to winning playoff basketball. But this is a team that has been to the pinnacle. They've won a championship with a lot of the guys that are on this roster currently. And now you've taken away, their leader and a guy that's led them there. And I know that the players, like you mentioned, are the main driving force of a championship team. But when it comes down to those crunch times in NBA basketball, you want a good coach, a situationally aware coach, and a guy that knows how to rally the troops. And I think that Mike Malone was that for the Nuggets. So very, very confusing. Dylan, since you mentioned the 3-7 record, and since you mentioned Jokic, I'm going to give you the 5 points right here. Arthur, I can't give you the 1 point because Tyler gets that. No, I'm just kidding. You had the 3 points anyways. So it's actually a tie game between you two right now. Or no, sorry. Dylan, you got the 1 point the first time. So 6-8 right now, heading into this third and final round. Doesn't look like Tyler's going to show up, so it might be a little bit quicker of a show, but I'll try to add in some of my opinions here and there now. Let me get back to here. Assuming that Cam Ward doesn't go number 1 overall in the 2025 NFL draft, where does Shedeur Sanders go? Is it the Browns at 2, the Giants at 3? Is a team trading up for Sanders? Where does he go and why? We will start with you, Dylan.
it's so tough with Shedeur because I feel like there's been so many different things. Shedeur is definitely the bona fide second best quarterback in this draft, without a doubt. But it just kind of feels like the chatter around the league is that teams don't really love him. For a team to bet on their future and on a quarterback, you gotta love the quarterback. You gotta you gotta say for sure this is my guy. And I've been hearing Travis Hunter to the Browns. The Giants already have two quarterbacks, and even though they don't have a long-term future as far as those two quarterbacks go, I think they're going to just play this year out. So what I think is going to happen is that the Steelers, as desperate as they are, they're going to make the trade up. There was just some recent buzz saying that Shedeur Sanders, interviewed with the Steelers, and I believe Steelers are kind of towards the later half of the 10th pick, but I think they'll trade up. It's Tomlin has reached the end of his rope. I saw an interview not too long ago where he was just sweating bullets, especially talking about Aaron Rodgers. The sheer amount of stress in life, 8 years
He was
that
sweating
went off
bullets.
his age, just because of this whole Aaron Rodgers problem. Like, I don't blame him. Like, they've done everything they possibly could to woo Aaron Rodgers to play another year. Rodgers is like, nah. DK Metcalf and
He
George
might sit
Pickens,
out.
nah. I mean, he might as well, man. He might as well just retire. He's well into his 40s.
Yeah.
How much more do you have left in you? He clearly doesn't really show the will to really want to play. He's kind of just like, yeah, whatever. And I think it's just more Pittsburgh is just not the best place. He's like, I went to LA. He's a quarterback. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like the Steelers are in a desperate need for a quarterback. They just put all their chips in the middle of the table to beef up their offense. Why not get Shedeur Sanders? I think it would be a great pairing, especially when they have the offense around him to nurture him. And Tomlin, I believe, is one of the best coaches in the league. But it's one of those things now, it's do or die for Tomlin. He's consistently a playoff contender. He's consistently in the competition, no matter how good his team is, good or bad. But he hasn't reached the mountaintop since early in his coaching career with Ben Roethlisberger way back when. So, like, how many times you keep on running back the same year over and over and over again? So they need a quarterback more than anything. So I think the Steelers need Shedeur Sanders more than anything. So where will they trade up? Maybe the Giants will trade down. Maybe the Patriots will trade down. I think the Patriots will trade down. I as a Patriot fan, unless Abdul Carter is there, I'd rather just wait on a lineman or maybe another defensive guy. But, it's one of those things where I think that there'll still be – I think the Steelers will definitely have to do the trade up and get Shedeur without a doubt.
Yeah, you made some good points about the Steelers wanting to come up. They, like you mentioned, I mean, my team back here is known for being choke artists when it comes around to the playoff time. Steelers, they're always making the playoffs, but they don't make those deep runs anymore. They're not getting to the Super Bowl. That comes with having a quarterback, and they haven't had one since Big Ben. And even when they had Big Ben later down that stretch, he just wasn't the same. So good point about them wanting to trade up for Shedeur. I have my own opinions about this, but we'll let Arthur answer. Go ahead, my man.
I hate this so much. This is one of the most annoying parts of the draft process. I hate this shit so much. Excuse me for my language. They did this same thing to CJ Stroud before the NFL draft when he got drafted, saying teams don't like him, saying all this BS stuff about him. Look, y'all, I understand y'all want to put all these narratives out and stuff like that so you can encourage teams not to draft them. The film speaks for its freaking self, bruh. Quit trying to put all this stuff on him. You don't like him because of his dad. You probably don't like him because of him, because he's just like his dad. Bro, the apple don't fall far from the tree. Y'all can call it cockiness. I call it confident. The young man has been bred to be confident ever since he was a young age, just like his daddy was. It's like the old commercial. You look good, you feel good, you play good. You know what I'm saying? So just leave all the BS, the extra antics. Can the man play football? Can the man be a really great quarterback in the right system with the right pieces around him? Can he really help an organization play? Yes, I believe he can. if the Steelers, and I believe they should be, are desperate enough to trade up to try to get him, they absolutely should. You got guys like Steelers fans like Bryson Carver who say, look, I love being in playoff contention, but I would love to get more than just one playoff win the entire year. I would like to go deep into the playoffs and get back to the freaking mountaintop. I would love to not be in purgatory anymore and be in this thing of, oh, we're just good enough. And no, I want to be a great team. I want Super Bowls. I don't want just one. Right? So yes, emotionally, I would love Shedeur Sanders to be with Mike Tomlin. I would love for Mike Tomlin to be with Shedeur Sanders and build for the future. But if I'm going logically and realistically, the New York Giants better say, yo, coach, we love you. We respect you. Click. Heck no. Are you kidding me? Like, no, like you need him for your future. He gets to learn from Russell Wilson. Are you sure that Shedeur Sanders will be able to learn from Aaron Rodgers? We don't even know if Aaron Rodgers will be on the team. He's probably on an ayahuasca trip somewhere. So you don't even know if that's a solidified thing that you're going to have. But you have Russell Wilson being able to nurture, help Shedeur Sanders grow, and things of that nature. Same thing with Jameis Winston. You heard Dion talk about how you got people making jokes about here, laughing, saying that they're going to be baptized before every single game with Jameis and Russell Wilson in the locker room. I get it. There's a whole lot of antics and stuff there with those two, but that would still be a great organization, I believe, for a young quarterback and with a young receiver and with the name of Malik Neighbors. You saw what he and Locke were able to do at the end of the season. I believe Malik Neighbors and Shedeur Sanders would be amazing. Now all they need is a bona fide running back, which they had, but they let him go to the freaking Philadelphia. Anyways, so that's what I believe emotionally, I would love to see him in the Steelers uniform with Mike Tomlin. But I believe logically, the Giants need a quarterback more than anything, especially for the future with a Malik Neighbors. And that pairing would save, in my opinion, Brian Dable's job because he's clearly the scapegoat at the moment.
I like both of your guys' teams that you're kind of riding with. Steelers definitely need to trade up, do something. They tried the Kenny Pickett experiment. They tried the Justin Fields thing. They tried the Russell Wilson thing. None of that has worked. They need to invest in a legitimate quarterback. That would be Shedeur Sanders if they had that opportunity. But it takes a team to go and ball. Hey, we got Tyler back in here. He can answer this question and actually make the final round if he can answer it correctly. Let me pull him up here really quick, and then I will continue on with my thing after he answers. Tyler, we're on Shedeur Sanders, assuming that Cam Ward goes number 1 overall. Where does Shedeur Sanders go, and why is that the right fit for him?
Well, I see him dropping down close to the Saints, exactly right at the Saints. And it's not for any reason in particular, but in the NFL, you take the best player, period. And I believe the Giants are going to go a different route there. I think the Browns might get Travis Hunter, but I do see Shedeur Sanders. Now, why this is true, I have no idea because I've been watching this guy for 2 years, and he is immaculate with his growth. During the combine, he's throwing well. He sounds very, very articulate. He's very, he's a little confident, but he's not cocky. He knows what he's doing, and he's. I would have top 3. I've seen going down to the Saints. The Saints it's a culture for them. And Shedeur fire culture. They haven't had it since Drew Brees. After Drew Brees came on fire. I expect similar impact on these.
Oh man, Tyler, you're glitching so bad, brother. I don't know.
I can never catch a break with this internet, bro.
Hey, no worries. Go ahead and see if it's fixed really quick.
Glitching, what's going on?
Keep on going with your point really quick. I want to see if it stopped.
Yes, but Shedeur Sanders, I mean, we'll have him go top 3 in the first 6 weeks of this NFL draft covering it, right? As of recently, Mel Kiper has him following, and it's like I said, for no character, whatever it is,
Concern, yeah.
defect of the door. It's just a better fit for him where he lands. He's going to be in that Cajun culture.
Okay. I got the gist of it. There was some R2D2 thrown in there as well, but I got the gist of it with the Saints coming up, or not coming up, staying pats, and getting Shadur Sanders. You seem like you articulated that he's a confident player, not necessarily a cocky player. Kind of echoes what Arthur's saying. I think that Shadur is just as much as cocky or confident as a Cam Ward. So if you're going to knock Shadur for that, you got to knock Cam for that. You had to knock, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name, Caleb Williams for that. So I don't think that is a concern. Whenever I look at him compared to a Cam Ward, I don't see the zip. The same arm talent, and for NFL scouts and GMs, that's a big thing. So I think Cam Ward is pretty much locked into that number one spot. I'm kind of surprised that none of you guys went with the Browns as a team. I mean, they've been in QB purgatory as well, and something they told Arthur saying no, something they told Garrett made him want to come back, because remember he was ready to get out of there, and so I'm questioning if the Browns told him, hey, we're taking a quarterback, we're not going with Deshaun Watson anymore, and then the Giants somehow heard about that, and that's why they signed Jameis and Russell. We'll see. At the end of the day, I think that the most realistic take right there was Arthur, followed up by Dylan, and then followed up by Tyler. So let me count these points up. So we got Tyler with 9 points. We have Dylan with 9 points, and we have Arthur with 13 points. So actually, everybody's going to make it to the final round based on the tie. And this is the final question. So everybody's going to get a take here. Tyler, you get some redemption here. Hopefully your internet connection holds out. No more R2D2. Let's get that figured out, son. And let's rock here into the final question. The Western Conference is extremely tight right now, heading into the final 4 games of the season. Teams 2 through about 8 in the conference are, the seeding can change through those teams. So who, if not the Thunder, has the best shot at the title and representing the West this year? Not including the Thunder. So here we go. We will start it off with Arthur.
If Mike Malone was still the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, I would have said the Denver Nuggets, because they're just a different team come playoff time. Jamal Murray just looks different. Nikola Jokic, he continues to do what he does. Michael Porter Jr. elevates. Aaron Gordon elevates. That team just elevates. But he is no longer the coach, so I'm not going to go Denver. It's crazy because if you asked me this a few months ago, I wouldn't have said it, and I still don't know how this will look, just because this team can be so up and down. But if the Los Angeles Lakers can continue to click the way they are, I believe that they can be anybody in the West. You have the experience of a LeBron James who's taken a backseat, not just to Luka Doncic, but also to Austin Reeves, who has shown exceptional growth ever since he got drafted. Luka Doncic, though, he has to be better. He has to have better efficiency. I understand that you want to shoot a whole lot of threes. I understand you want to foul bait. I get all that. But come playoff time, you can't let that whistle be your game plan, because we need those points, because defensively, you just not that guy. You're going to get attacked defensively. You're going to get exposed on the defensive end, and I'm going to need you to get those points the way you know how, without feeling like that whistle is going to be able to save you. Rui, I believe, is going to play well. Jared Vanderbilt is going to do well defensively. Jackson Hayes has been a very great defensive center filling in for AD. No, he's not AD, but he's been one of the better defensive centers so far in the league ever since AD got traded. Their bench, I believe, is really nice with Gabe Vincent, with Dalton Connect, with a lot of guys who play defense, who can shoot threes and stuff like that. Austin Reeves, though, is going to be their X factor. If that guy with that bit that he does with the dribble, with the shooting ability, with how he's able to create contact and draw fouls and get to the free throw line, if he can get it to where he's the second best player, and LeBron James can be a catch and shoot guy, he can be a facilitator, he can be a dude where, hey, if y'all need this 22 to 25 points, I can give y'all that, because Luka's going to give you 30 plus. He's accustomed to that during playoff time. I need Austin Reeves to jump to 25 plus when it comes playoff time, and give LeBron a chance to where all you need is just one game for LeBron to drop 30 in a playoff series, because AR-15 is doing what he needed to do as a second best player in a playoff series to help carry this team to a title. So I'm gonna have to go with the Los Angeles Lakers.
I like the answer. I lied. I made a critical error on my part. I put the 5 points that Dylan won the round previous whenever you were not here, Tyler. I put that on your points total. So you actually have not made the finals. However, I will still allow a take since you did miss the round. I will still allow a take. And we'll see what happens. Because I'm a gracious host and I haven't done this in a while. And when I get in here and I get the buttons, I get the keys, I want to do something a little crazy, so we'll allow you to
Hey, I appreciate
spread
that.
your
I really
point.
do. One of these days, we're gonna get this Wi-Fi connection. It's gonna happen in the name of Jesus. I believe it. But hey, you know
There you
what?
go.
Between three teams, Los Angeles Lakers, Houston Rockets, and Golden State Warriors, I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Mm.
And it's from how Arthur said it, okay? And it's their length on defense. We saw, and that's on their backcourt, right? We saw what kind of problem that presents against Oklahoma City. Caruso, Dort, SGA are too small for LeBron. And Luka's not a good defender, but they have a lot of Rui. They have AR. They have a lot of length and a lot of size on the perimeter to be able to stop those smaller guards. And if they are able to shut down their second scorer like they did last night, and they play again tonight, so it's going to be interesting to watch. If they could shut down Jalen Williams, Oceanport, Newport, Lou Dort, Lakers in 5.
Hey, I thought you were glitching for a second there, but I see what you did. Dylan, go ahead with your take, my guy.
Okay, so I was actually lockstep with Arthur at first. I definitely Nuggets would have been mine, but the Lakers, man, they were super hot coming into actually the new year. Even before the Luka Doncic trade, they were super hot, and then with the Luka buzz, they were maintaining that heat. But now they're starting to falter off. I'm definitely defense will always be a concern for me. Luca, of course, he's going to be a baller without a doubt. He's always going to give you what he gives you at 30, maybe like 10 plus assists, close to a triple double on any given night. LeBron is LeBron. You can always trust LeBron. I'm still worried about his age where Arthur, yeah, I mean, yeah, can you give you one or two good games, a series that could be like classic LeBron? I think so. Will that be enough? I don't think so. Austin Reeves definitely is just another one that, again, very hot when he's at his best. He's very hot, but I can't believe that. The Rockets, I'm very funny. No one talked about the Rockets, and who cares about the Rockets? But my pick, I think it's the Golden State Warriors.
Mm.
And because typically what happens, especially at the end of the season, usually the hottest teams coming into the playoffs usually carry over into the playoffs and are the teams that move on and get, into the NBA championship. And you need someone that has a pedigree to win championships. And Steph Curry has been on such a tear recently that I think I mean, we've always called him the best shooter in the game ever, but I think he finally reached that pure mastery where if he's on, good luck. You need all five guys on him to stop him. And then Jimmy Butler, since they acquired Jimmy Butler, they have barely lost. They maybe lost a handful of games here and there, but Jimmy Butler as a solid two guy, especially if Steph Curry starts to have like an inefficient game, and because again, when you have a bad night, you have a bad night. It is what it is. You're gonna always, you can't be. No one's perfect. But then Jimmy Butler, who's an amazing defender, who can give you 25 plus if you need, if he steps up to the plate and does it. And Brandon Podziemski, the rookie, he's been looking very good. If he disappears in a flurry of threes and Jimmy Butler's doing this thing, who's to say he doesn't go off? I like Kaminga. I mean Draymond Green. I'll never say I like Draymond Green, but is he an asshole and enforcer that could get into your head and push you off your game? That's what you need. You need that in the playoffs. You need to be mentally tough. And the Warriors are more mentally tough than any of these teams right now. It's like Clippers are another team that are in that like range of being potential, but I think we could get another Cinderella story like last year when because Luka and the Mavericks, they weren't a top seed. No one really considered the Mavericks to be the NBA Finals, representative last year. But sure enough, Luka did it, and they got hot at the right time and did it. I think that could happen with the Warriors, without a doubt.
Yeah. All of you guys had some really solid takes. Um, Man, coming from a Celtics fan, the team that I would least like to see is the Golden State Warriors. Jimmy Butler, what he provides on the defensive end, and he can get there. You go, boy. Dylan got some brownie points for me. No, but what Jimmy Butler can do defensively and then scoring flurries, getting hot. Steph Curry, the chef's gonna come hot if he gets there. He's gonna be motivated more than ever to stamp his legacy as the best point guard of all time. If he gets that one, my goodness, I don't see how you could not put him at the best overall point guard all time. I think the Lakers are sneakily the team that I think has that potential of we have three very, very good players, the big three there, kind of underrated at times, especially with the Luka chemistry with LeBron and two super ball dominant players there. What happens? But I don't think any of these teams. I think that Oklahoma City Thunder is actually going to get to the pinnacle this year. But I'm actually going to give it to Dylan, man. I'm going to give it to Dylan tonight as your winner. I just think he had some good points about the Golden State Warriors with just Curry so hot right now, getting his teammates involved. I watched that LA versus Golden State game the past week, and it just seemed like even when the Lakers were shutting Curry down in that first half, he was still getting his teammates involved, the young guys getting involved like you mentioned, and then Draymond just being that dickhead, man. He's coming playoff time and as much as he loves LeBron, he would love to shut his championship hopes down even more. So, I think that I think that Dylan takes it tonight. I think I'm going to give him the 10 points, get Dylan up in the win column a little bit more. Arthur had some great points. Tyler, when you weren't R2D2, I loved a lot of your takes as well, my brother. Any closing statements here from our champion, Dylan?
Man, oh man. I mean, it feels good. As a fellow Celtics fan, I'm never, ever going to root for the Lakers. I don't care if you have all my favorite players on the Lakers. I would never, ever, ever root for the Lakers. I mean, even though the Warriors ripped my heart out, I definitely want a rematch between the Celtics and the Warriors for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's just so funny. And one last thing, the Rockets are like the biggest fake second seed. They might be a first round exit.
It's too young of a team, in my opinion, man.
You need heartbreak. NBA, you need heartbreak before you reach the pinnacle, and the Rockets, they're just not there yet. They need to have that deep.
Yeah, I almost think about like the first time OKC made it with the young, super young Harden as sixth man of the year, and KD and Russ against the Heat so long ago. I think it was like 2012 or something like that. I kind of almost think like they have the talent. Obviously not quite as good as that OKC team, but I just, man, it would be super surprising to see them there. Arthur, any closing takes?
Nah, man. I was listening to Dylan, and I was like, he gonna get me. He gonna get me because I mean, like, it's fair. They are the Golden State the Golden State Warriors are clicking at the right time, and with Stephen Curry, he is playing lights out. Jimmy Butler, he's gonna look like he's gonna be their X factor. Draymond Green is gonna. And the crazy thing about Steve Kerr is that when you talk about coaches who have been with championship teams between 2020 and 2023, he's the only one left. Everybody else has been gone within 2 years and winning the championship. So that also goes to show, the level of, accomplishments and respect, love, and all that stuff that the organization have for Steve Kerr. So, yeah, Golden State Warriors wouldn't be a bad pick either.
For sure. Tyler, I'm going to mute you if you start glitching out, but go ahead.
Yes, sir. I understand. I just moved to a new apartment. I'm just excited to chop it up with some superstars here. Hopefully by next week we'll get an established connection. But hey, I will say these playoffs shall be fun. I cannot wait until we fire Nico Harrison. It is going to be the greatest day in Dallas sports history, and we are going to celebrate it until the sun rises.
For sure. Hey guys, if it is your first time tuning into the Gryd Network 8 o'clock spot, please do leave a comment, a like down below, subscribe to the channel, set that notification bell so that you never miss a show. 8 o'clock spot, so fun having these guys in here, and yeah, we'll catch you next week. Peace.